Right, hello. This is going to be section 4, modifying existing students. Right, so I've added a combo box to the form here. That just came from the toolbox here, combo box, and I just dragged it on. Now, at the moment, I'm going to have to get the properties up for that, and I'm going to rename it. So at the moment, it's combo box 1, so I'm just going to rename that. And hopefully I've got it. There we go, CMB student ID. I probably want to change the size as well because it's not very wide, is it? So let's just, I can't really drag it with the, see what that does. There we go. So that's a bit better, a bit wider now. I couldn't drag it, wasn't getting the anchors, if you like, to pull that across. Right, so the first thing, let's go back to the notes then. And I'm looking here. So it says now, add a combo box, add the following code to the form load event, FRM student. Right, so we're in FRM student, so double click on the form to bring up the form load event, and then I'm going to add this code here. Now you might think, well, that's not much, is it? You're right, it's not much because we've reused the code that we already did to fill up the list box in form 1. So get students, if you look at get students, if I press F12 on that, there it is there. It just returns a list of students, returns all the fields. Okay, so that's good. So that was easy because we'd already had that and we reused the code in get students. So let's just test to see if it works first off. So open student, and there you can see there, they're all filled up. Okay, now we're also using the get full name because that is what we wanted there. So all we're doing then is we're getting a list there, getting the students. We're saying the display member is called full name. The value member is student ID. So that's the one that we actually want to store is the student ID, or get the value because that's unique. And then we just say data source is our list here, students. Now I could have, as I said there in a comment there, var could have been var used, but could have said list student for clarity. Right, so that's that done. So that was surprisingly straightforward. It's not difficult. Right, now what we need now is a button to update in a minute as well. So now it says we're going to get the text boxes to populate when we select a student so we can see their details, which makes a lot of sense. So we need to create a method in the student repository class to return a student filtered on student ID. So this is where we need not just all students, just one particular student. Okay, and I'm just going to copy that and I'm going to paste it into student repository. So there's the student repository there, and make sure I don't make a mess of it like I did last time. So that's in the right place there. So let's have a quick look at the code here. Now it looks a lot, but it's not too bad. Right, so I'm simply saying select star from student where student ID equals a value that I'm sending in. Okay, so it's only going to return one student. We have a connection string as normal, we have our command as normal, we have open. Now we've got the parameters. Now this time is the student ID because we've got the question mark here. So that's what we're replacing that with, is with student ID that we send in. So that's going to get replaced with student ID equals 4. Now we do exactly like we would before. So we just execute the reader, we read it. Now we're only expecting one line here, so we could have used a while loop here, it doesn't matter, but if data.read, so if anything came back, that's basically saying we could have used a while loop though. Student equals new student, and then we're just simply filling up that student that gets returned with that ID. Now this, because that's the primary key, we should only get one student. Okay, so we've done that. Now back in here, so we've done that. Now we can call the method when we select a student from the form. Add the following code to the selected index changed event. You get this by double clicking the combo box in design view. Right, so that's important. So let's go back now to FRM student, put it in design view, double click on the combo box, and then that gets the selected index changed event. So that's important that we do that. Right, so all you need to do now is I'm going to copy that code. I'll explain what's happening. Right, so what we've got now is student equals student repository get filtered student. So that's the new method. This is the important bit here, though, is there is how to get the value from the combo box. So it's student ID.selected value. If I put text, that would show the student names, okay, which we don't want. We want the selected value, which is the student ID. So that sends off the student ID. That comes back now. We're saying if it's not null, then we fill these up. Right, so the first thing we're going to do now is just test to see if that works. So we open student, and what should happen now if I select Jeff Nasty, it puts his name in there and the date of birth, so that you notice those change when that happens. So that's good. Right, so we're well on the way now. So let's stop that right. Right, okay, now back to our notes here. Now there's a bit more step. Next task is to update the appropriate record in the database. First thing we have to do is create a method in the student repository that contains the SQL to update an existing student. That should say an existing student, not and. The code below receives the student to be updated in the database. Copy and paste below in the student repository. Right, so let's copy that. I've no idea why rec is there. That needs to go. Someone pointed out to me the other day. So we're going to student repository, and there it is there. And then we're going to add in our, I've done the wrong place again. That's there. Right. So we have our update student. So we send in a student. We've now got our update query. So update TBL student set first name equals last name, blah, 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 where student ID equals something. So now we have to use all of these parameters. Okay. So again, we do the connection, we do the command, and then we add the parameters. So we say, well, what is first name? What is last name? Etc. etc. Now, and what is the student ID is there. So that's where that parameter there gets added in. Okay, so that's how that works. And then we execute that and it returns back. Sorry, no, it doesn't return back anything. It just updates the database. Right, now I go back to my notes here, then add a button on the student form that will call the button update. Right, call it BTN update. So let's copy that. So I'm going to add a new button on the form. So I'm going to go back now to my form student design there. And I'm just going to copy that. I've lost the name now, but doesn't matter. So I'm going to now change the properties on that. So the text is now going to say update student. Whoops. Okay, and then double click. I need to rename it as well. So BTN update student. Nice. And then double click on that. Now go back to my notes. And then what do I have in here? Well, I've got it. This bit of code here. So this is quite familiar now, should be. I won't bother with the update forms just yet. Now, so let's do that. So I've got student equals student, new student. And then we get the student ID, the first name, the last name. So we fill up a student record and then we basically send it off to be updated. Okay, so that's the one that we send off to the student repository. Right, so we've got to test to see if this works then. Now let's just run it. Open student, Roger Twiglet. So let's do Trevor Peters. Let's give him a load of S's on the end of his name. Update student. No errors, which is good. Right, it doesn't update that, and that's what we're going to deal with in a minute. So now I'm going to go open student. Whoops, didn't used to do that. You can see there Peters has a load of S's on the end of his name. So that worked. Right, okay. Now there was a little bit here about update student, update forms here. Right. So let's do update forms. Okay. Now that's going to give you an error. Now run the program, blah, blah, blah. Right, okay, maybe I shouldn't have put that in just yet. Okay, so we got update forms. Right. So let me just automatically generate that method. Okay, so there's my update forms, and then we've got this here. Now I'll explain what that is in a minute. So let's just not worry about the comments, and then right. So my form load event doesn't begin with a capital F, so that's why it's probably not liking that. Okay, so do I have my form load event? Okay, designer, double click on my form. Right, so I have a form load event. I don't know why it's complaining about that. Oh, it's because I've got the throw. Idiot. Right, get rid of that. Right, okay, so form load. So I'm calling the form load and I'm doing this. Now the form load event, that's important because what that will do is update the combo box. And then what this will do is call display students on form 1. Now on form 1, what is that? Let's quickly go back, have a look. So form 1, right, view code, and I've got display students there. That's public, so that's accessible. So that basically updates the list box. Right, so there's two things now that's going to happen. Right, so when I update a student now, it's going to update not only, so let's call him Trevor P now. Update student. Notice that changed the combo box. So now Trevor P, and also you can't see it, but that's now Trevor P as well. Okay, so that is how you do it. Now, I think the note's probably a little bit out of sync there, but you get the idea. Okay, so that's how you update students